recap for this run. This is an absolutely crazy run. It's the first time I've gotten sub 150, so I'm extremely happy with that. If you've not been like familiar with it, getting sub 150, there's currently 4 people who have that, me being one of them. I do have the slowest time right now. However, it the fact that I was rolling above normal quota rolls by a pretty substantial amount does sort of make up for that fact. So I got a bit unlucky with the quota rolls this run. Um, Overall, I this is easily one of the best starts I've had to a run. We're gonna start off here. We wind up finding all 3 Bs for a total of 381, which is a pretty solid start. Then we move on to assurance, where we jump off, we land, we get in the building, and almost immediately find 4 items, which is just absolutely perfect to see. Um, but then, while walking around, we find a bee outside on assurance, which is also pretty rare and also worth a decent amount. So we wind up collecting that as well. And from day two, we actually get 325, which is quite a lot for assurance. Like normally on assurance, you're looking at around probably like a 180 average if you get 4 items. Um, but with the beehive and 4 pretty solid items, um we get a good amount. Something you'll see a lot of runners do is they'll sell early on the first quota. So we aren't going to go actually explore on day 3. We're just going to sell directly after day 2. Um, and that just saves about a minute. You do lose a little bit of money because it is more expensive to sell on earlier days. That's why we'll only really do that on quota 1, maybe quota 2 in some routes. Um, but and now in this route, we're just going to do the one, and then it's straight back into assurance. Again, we find a nearby locker room, super helpful to just get a bunch of loot quickly. From the first day of quota 2, we wind up getting 164. Nothing too major to write home about. I just try to play these quotas fast and get a lot of items as soon as I can. On day 2, though, of quota 2, we actually get a mansion assurance, which is extremely rare for version 40. Wind up spending a bit of time here looking around, but we get a full inventory again, make it back to the ship, and we collected 197. Nothing much really happens on day 3 of quota 2. We get 149, and then we go to the company to sell. However, we find out that we get a jet sale of 60%, which is incredible. Jet sales can go up to 80%. This saves $420 we have to collect. So we're able to save a lot of time in the first 3 quotas with that. Because of how much money we have on ship, we're actually able to go to Vow and skip every single day of quota 3, just landing and taking off, land, take off, land, take off, before heading back to the company, selling for quota 3, grabbing the jetpack, and heading off to Titan for quota 4. Here you actually see the jetpack coming in still because you can order it, and as long as you take off as soon as you can on Vow, or any moon for that matter, you can not have uh, the company the company rocket come in and bring you what you need before you actually give it time to. So that's how I was able to delay it until we got back to the company for the quota 3 sell. Anyways, now we're on Titan. The goal on Titan is to get loot and be fast about it. It doesn't matter if you get a lot of loot and it's slow, or if you get a little bit of loot and it's fast. As long as you're keeping up the pace, you'll be okay for the run. So that's the main goal with this. On our first day of Titan, we wind up getting 511, which is pretty nice. For day 2, we wind up getting our first ever Eclipse Day. Eclipse Days are kind of rough. You can only really get 3 one-handed items back. Doesn't matter how much you find, you just go in, you get three one-handeds, and unfortunately, like today, we have to leave behind a lamp and actually a few things. Like we walk in and we already found three items that we can't bring. But we just want the run to continue and we want to be fast. And Eclipse days are bad for money, but amazing for time. You wind up getting a lot in a very quick time. So that was 175, and we were inside for like maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes. On day three, it's stormy. Not a lot to really say about stormy. You can get random struck, which is always a danger. Haven't broken stormy yet. So breaking stormy is just whenever you leave a metallic object outside one day and leave it there and just don't collect it at all. Typically that's done with a key, but I hadn't done that yet. So you can see items still striking there. We wind up collecting 566, going to sell it at the company, and we are off to quota 5. Something worth mentioning is not a single quota has been below average quota at this point, and quota 5 is continuing that trend. We wind up getting a pretty solid day. Um, 783 from the first day of quota 5. On day 2, we found a bracken, kind of interesting, but not really a problem. Just noted him and moved on. Day 2, we got 488. Now this day moving on to day 3, it's the most unfortunate. I wind up juggling these items to the wrong path and wind up on a chase to try and track down where Main is. Main was like one room away from that loot room I was just in, so you see me heading back. I'm like trying to find it, trying to find it. I think it's this way. It's actually another door over, so I wind up wasting a lot of time, probably about a minute, just looking for Main here. I did find a robot in that hallway, which was pretty cool. Um, lost about a minute, still 682 that day, so quite nice. Quota reached, sold everything to get to quota 6. Here we have a Jester. It started cranking pretty early. We found it pretty early. We actually did not get a lot from today. From a money per like time spent perspective, this is probably one of our worst days. Just finding loot that's worth stuff. Um, but we still wind up getting 296. Day 2 is nothing major to write about. We get 456. Day 3, we find a ton of loot, an absolute ton. We find two loot rooms, a locker room. Like, both lockers have things. It's just like so much stuff. We spend a large amount of the day just getting all of this out for Maine. Um, and then in the locker room, we also have things on the stairs as well. Like it's just stuff everywhere. Here you can see the other locker, just another 4 item locker. Just absolutely love to see it. These are what really make the runs pop. Um, turns into an amazing day. We wind up getting 1,161, which is the best day of the run. Spoiler alert. But no day like even comes close. I think the closest one is like 300 below or something. But that's okay. At this point, I'll start speeding up the pace. Quota 7, we got 549, a 588 day, and a 364 day. Nothing too major to write about there. There was a dog on day 1 that I saw towards like the very end of the bringing stuff back to the ship at the bottom, but didn't really affect us. For quota 8, we got a 593 day, but on day 2, we actually get a mansion. These are super rare and super bad for the run. All of the loot is just really spread out in version 40. In higher versions, it's a lot better, like V50 plus. He changed how the mansion loot generated and how the mansion itself generated, so it's smaller. We wind up getting $0 that day and 526 on the last. After a quick sell, get back directly into quota 9 for a 468 day, a 610, and a 265 day. Moving into the last quota, the only thing we need to know is that we have 1,400 on ship roughly, and this quota roll decides exactly how much we need to collect. As I've said before, unfortunately, this is I don't think we had a single quota roll below average. Average quota 10 is 2811. Here we get a 2819, which is almost back to average, or like almost below. It pretty much is average. But yeah, just throughout the run, we lost about, I believe it's 374 throughout the entire run. Um, but yeah, just a lot of money lost. On the first day, we only collect about 300. We collected 294. So we need, the next 2 days to be about 550. Fortunately, we get 819 on day 2, which makes day 3 super easy. We go in, get quick loot, and get out. Um, then all it is a matter of selling, selling, and some more selling before we find out what our final time is. Now is a good time to mention that I streamed this all on Twitch. If you're interested in watching it, here's a link, just twitch.tv/ZeroTaylor. Quick shout out for me. But overall, we're getting to the end of the run. All we have to do is pull the lever and wait until we're finally in orbit. In the top right, you'll see the timer counting down. Something you might notice here is that we actually collected 200 extra dollars. This is because there's a weird system in the game where if you leave items on the walkway of the ship while taking off before bringing them in, they might not always scan. Um, Here's the spreadsheet for the run. On the right, I've went through my footage and figured out what days I was missing items from the final ship scan for each day, and there were 4 times it happened. Overall, though, we got a 149.30. I am extremely happy with that. I do kind of wish I didn't get lost on quota 6, or what day was. I forget what day it was. What I forget. I'm upset. I got lost that one day and lost like a minute. But for having quotas above average every single day and still being able to complete sub 150, I believe I'm the only one that can say I've done that, which I'm super happy with. But as always, thanks for watching. I will catch you in the next one. If you want to check out the VOD, I'll have a link to the full VOD in the description. Adios and goodbye.